जयपुर वाया कोटा।
कृपया ध्यान आपको अहमदाबाद
दिल्ली में आपका स्वागत.
Lucknow Junction.
ನಿಲ್ದಾಣದ ಕಡೆಗೆ ಹೊರಟಿರುವರೈ
Hyderabad Superfast Express পরবর্তী স্টেশন নেতাজি ভবন कृपया ध्यान दियो
V for victory, V for Varun Chakravarthy. Just the 2 overs that he bowled, 18th and the 20th. Varun Chakravarthy spun his magic. Hyderabad did all the hard work. Unfortunately, stuttered right towards the end. It's a game day that they would have believed they'll win. When Markram and Klaasen were batting, a 70-run partnership between the two, I thought had done the job. Eventually, they fell short by 5 runs. Kolkata winning their 4th game of this league and keeping themselves alive. You're watching Cricbuzz Live. Rohan Gavaskar alongside. And our favourite Polly Kaka joins us all the way from Durban. Heartbreak for Hyderabad. Polly, it's a team that everyone wants to see win, but somehow, despite having a solid squad, they're not able to finish the job.
Yeah, they got to be disappointed with that. I mean, they were the worst enemies for most of the innings, to be totally honest. And, you know, from a management, from a coaching perspective, you've got to sit there and think to yourself, gosh. You know, when you go through that batting lineup, Tripathi, 20 off 9. He had got 15 off 2 deliveries in the 1 over of Andre Russell. Was there any need to walk across and try and paddle one when fine legs back? Harry Brook gets 0 off 4. I mean, I suppose his paddle shot, he'd say that's one of his strengths. But even someone like a Klaasen and going to the captain, Aiden Markram, I mean, Klaasen was going great guns. A new bowler comes on, Thakur comes on. His first delivery, he tries to take him down. He tries to clear the mid-wicket fence and holds out. He had earned the right to have a look at 1 or 2 deliveries, see what he's about before having to put the pedal down. And even the Markram shot, I mean, it's so out of character. You leave that ball alone, I'm sure it's adjudged as a wide. I mean, it was a first serve at Wimbledon, to be totally honest. But you've got to, I think in this game, I mean, we were critical of Cricbuzz at the start, not giving himself a chance. I think there's got to come a time, and I know you don't want to get away from allowing this free spirit to take over. It's T20 cricket, and you want the guys to express themselves, and yes, there's going to be an element of risk, but there has to be an element of responsibility. There's no way you can get yourself into a situation like we saw tonight, and they lose by 5 runs. And when you look at other teams like Mumbai, all of a sudden, they've got so much confidence in their chasing unit. If you need 40 or 2 overs, they still believing they should do it. Whereas I think they needed 23, was it? Or like 12 or 14 deliveries and still couldn't get there. Yeah, it's got to be a hard pill to swallow for Brian Lara.
They needed 48 in the last 6, Rohan, and we saw the South Africans looking pretty good, a 70-run partnership. And then suddenly they lost their way. So Hyderabad fans are just sitting and trying to wonder what adjective or what word to use for how this match has ended for them.
I'm going to go to a word that Paulie used, responsibility. I think you've got to take responsibility and you've got to use a little bit of cricketing sense. Henrik Klaasen's shot, I can understand because you're striking it well, and when you're sometimes as a batter, when you're in the zone, you think you can, okay, I'm batting so beautifully, you've got that extra confidence. Markram, though, if you're going to run a ball, then you've got to see it through. As captain, you've got to see it through. He's got 41 or 40 deliveries. Then you've got to say, okay, listen, I'm going to be there right at the end. I'm going to go deep. I'm going to go right at the end, because when Markram got out, the run rate wasn't that high where he had to be more aggressive than he normally is. Yeah. Again, little things. It's hard and tough to sort of, in a chase like this, point a finger at, say, Markande, who's coming right at the end. But the clever thing to do at that point when he played that dot ball was to just take a single and let Bhuvneshwar Kumar be the hero. Yep. Let Bhuvi grab the headlines. You know, if Bhuvi can hit a 6 or 2 boundaries, boom, you're in with a chance. But, hey, look, you know, I mean, did KKR win this game? Or did SRH lose this game? That's the question.
Yeah, you know, Hyderabad is a city that is liked by one and all across the country. It's a city, it's a team that enjoys a certain soft corner in the hearts of cricket fans all across. And the expression on Kavya Maran's face, Rohan, I suppose, is symbolic of the emotional whirlpool for every Hyderabad fan. One feels sorry for
Well, listen,
Hyderabad.
you know, more than her expression, you had to look at the expression of the coaching staff. Because they're worried. I mean, it's their job on the line over here. And what do you do if you're part of that coaching staff, right? If you're Brian Lara and his coaching staff, what can you do? The way the game has panned out, the position that you're in, you're expecting your team to take it through, cross the line, take it over the line, because you're in a really good position. You've got two experienced batters out there, your overseas players, and you're thinking, okay, listen, cool heads over here, and 9 times out of 10, the game's in the bag.
Yep.
Unfortunately, just the way Markram got out, and then there was, it just sort of got tougher and tougher. But even after Markram got out, that last 3 overs, you need about 25, 26 in 18 deliveries. You're expecting that batting side to chase that down.
Yep, they were 54 for 4, Polly, in the 7th over. 6.2 is when the 4th wicket fell. And then you saw 70-run partnership. Did you at that stage write off KKR? Because most of us did after that 70-run partnership.
Yeah, and so it should be. And so it should be. I mean, they had done brilliantly. Don't get me wrong. That partnership was superb. I mean, even for Markram to hold his nerve, to not put under the pressure. I mean, I think he was 12 of 20 odd deliveries, and then he hit 2 fours back to back. The way Klaasen was striking at 36 of 20, they had earned the right. That's the issue I have, is not the partnership and the way they played. They had earned the right to be able just to absorb a few balls if they felt they needed to, because they were striking it so well. They would always have that ability to catch it up. It needed to just eliminate a percentage. So if you were your risk was 50%, take it down to 30% for 2 overs, just to make sure you take it deeper. That's the way you become consistent. And it's not the first time Klaasen's got himself out, and it's hard to be severe on him, because, I mean, every time he goes to crease, he's striking it brilliantly, and he's striking it over 200. But more importantly is it's a match winner. Your match winners are the ones who take that responsibility. I mean, I'm going back in time, but your Michael Bevins, your Lance Kluseners, your Mahendra Singh Dhonis, that's what makes them so special. The fact that, yes, they strike well, but they also just have that cricket smarts where I want to be the one here at the back end. I'm not going to offer up a chance in order to be sitting and watching it from the dugout. I might just absorb a little bit because I'm backing myself. I can express myself at the back end. And therein lies the frustration. As far as the partnership goes, I thought it was brilliant. I love the way they played.
Back when I was growing up, and this is completely different format. You're talking about a 4-day game or a 5-day game. If you had a partnership, the coaches would always tell you, if you think the score's looking good at 230 for 2, add 2 wickets to that and see what the score's looking like. 230 for 4. Keep that in mind, because 1 brings 2. That's an old adage in cricket. You get out, suddenly another wicket falls, and the score's looking 240 for 4, 240 for 5. Is that a good score? I think similarly, I know it's a different format, but indeed, when you're chasing and you're 4 down already, you've got to use those cricket smarts, like Polly was saying, and thinking, okay, listen, if I get out here and another wicket falls because the new man comes in, you don't know what kind of form he's in, boom, suddenly we are 6 down. Will we be able to chase it? That's where you got to take it deep. That's where you got to say, okay, listen, I'm not going to leave about 50 runs for the rest. I'm going to take it down to about 30, 35 runs and see what happens then.
Abdul Samad's been brought into this side. They've shown a lot of faith in him for a certain reason. It's his job to finish games. 21 of 18 are not acceptable numbers.
Well, look, I mean, if you're looking at 21 of 18, then you've got to look at Markram, 41 of 40.
Yep.
And for someone who's set and been there for so long, it's tougher for someone who's coming in later and then trying to finish. I'm not trying to defend Abdul Samad, because he obviously came into bat at a slightly tougher time when you've lost wickets, and then you're thinking, if I get out here, who's coming into bat? Markandeya and Bhuvneshwar. If he did this when there were 3 wickets down or 4 wickets down, then it's a different story. But if you're coming into bat at the number that he did, knowing that, okay, listen, if I get out here, that's it, game done and dusted. It adds a little bit more pressure on you, and you feel that you've got to take it through, take it deep. But yeah, I know what you're saying. I mean, look, I think Polly's got something to say.
Yeah, I just think, I mean, the 2 points for me is first of all, I think they haven't learned their lesson. They had the same game against Delhi Capitals, didn't they? Where also it got down to a stage where they should have got over the line. And then the other thing from a Samad perspective is, I mean, no offense to him, and he wasn't the one who decided to be retained. But when you are one of the retained players, when you're one of the ones that they keep and they put the other people into the auction, they would be expecting to get more from him, I think. I think we saw at the start of the build-up here, I think he's got 90 runs, or it may be in the RPL this year so far. And for a retained player, I think this was the opportunity for him to get them over the line and say, listen, this is why you back me, because I can finish the games for you.
Yes, despair for Hyderabad, delight for KKR. We saw a big beaming smile on Venki Mysoore's face, and I'm sure there'll be a big party tonight to celebrate this win that keeps them in the hunt. It still could be very difficult, but at least it keeps them in the hunt. And I tell you what, Rohan, the heart, the life of that party is going to be the man who bowled over number 18 and over number 20, gave away just 8 in those 2 overs, Varun Chakravarthy.
Yeah, I mean, he was magnificent. I mean, under pressure, coming up with the goods. But I've got to say this, though. We were just before that last ball was bowled. Polly said off air, does Bhuvi have the power to hit a 6? And if Bhuvi actually wanted a ball which had to be hit for 6, it was the ball that Varun Chakravarthy bowled. Quicker, through the air, all he had to do was time it.
Yep.
Didn't have to worry about power. He missed it completely, but all he had, if you're batting over there, that's what you want. This was the last over that Varun Chakravarthy bowled. Excellent last over.
Yep.
But if I was Bhuvi, I'd be thinking that's exactly the ball I want from Varun if I want to smack it over the leg side.
Polly, what did you make of how Nitish Rana used his bowling resources? He used 7 bowlers in this match. He looks like the kind of captain who doesn't go in with a set plan. Even if there is a plan A that perhaps isn't working, he's got other options. He's willing to try things.
Yeah, unpredictable. I mean, a lot of the captains like to go that approach. I mean, you see those 7 options. You just got the 2 guys who finished their 4. I think for me, it does, unfortunately, they also reflect the mindset of the Kolkata camp, if we're totally honest. I mean, we kind of don't know who the best opening batting combination, what the batting order should be. And you also don't really know what the roles of the bowlers are. If you tell me who's going to open the bowling in the next game or who's going to bowl the death overs, we can't predict.
Yeah.
We can't predict it. And unfortunately, there needs to be, I mean, I know we don't want to be predictable, but there needs to be a little bit of structure. So they've got away with it tonight. And Chakravarthy, brilliant. He's got to take all the plaudits for that 18th and 20th over. He did a fantastic job. To go at 5s in that game and to work out where he actually bowled is just is gobsmacking, to really be totally honest. But I do walk away as a Kolkata fan thinking, I'm not too sure we know who's going to play what role for the rest of the tournament. So they've got the 2 points in the bag. But, yeah, I still think they're very undecided and a little bit disjointed, to be totally honest.
Rana can very well look at the result and say, listen, I use my resources well. Very often we look at the results and then decipher whether a certain decision was good or not.
But look, I mean, you can't really complain about his captaincy. I thought he did the job that was expected of him to defend, 170. I thought was an excellent effort. As Polly said, he was unpredictable, and sometimes it works in your favor, sometimes it doesn't. And to have that confidence in Varun Chakravarthy and say, listen, 18th and 20th, a lot of players, let's not forget that Nitish Rana is an inexperienced captain at this level. He could have been forgiven to have said, like, listen, Sunil Narayan, you've got a couple of overs left. You've got the experience. You're the big boy, the big daddy of all of this. Here's the ball. But, he went with the form bowler. He went with Varun Chakravarthy. He said, Varun, I believe in you. I trust in you. Gave him that responsibility, and Varun Chakravarthy came up trumps.
Narayan bowled the 10th and the 14th, and Polly, I asked myself if this is a well thought out strategy or is it just a random draw of lots?
Yeah, I mean, it's gut feel. I think that's around the captains. He's like, well, I think this best is the best for this situation. I mean, even the decision he brought back the faster bowlers and the pace on was making it easier for the batter. So that's why he was so good at getting Chakravarthy to finish, and he delivered. But yeah, it's not good reading for Nareen, is it? Because we talked at the beginning of the show about, is it time for maybe him to sit on the side and have a look at other possible options? When you've only got him, I mean, when would you have thought of him only bowling 2 overs in the match? I mean, he was always normally a banker for the full 4, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So a different role from him. And then to see what Chakravarty's done, Yeah, but I mean, it was interesting to see how long they held it back. I think it was the two right-handers at the crease that maybe influenced things as well.
All is well that ends well. And so if you're a KKR fan, smile. Smile, because I'm going to pull up the points table. Oh, yes. Kolkata still at number 8, but they've got their 4th win in the bag. It's a game that they were very likely to lose. Hyderabad have inflicted a 6th loss for themselves. Another loss chasing at home. It's just not working out for them despite having the resources. Now, the question in every Kolkata fan's mind is, can the Knight Riders still make it through to the playoffs? They've got 4 more games left in the league stage. Let's find out who they're going to play and let our experts weigh in on whether they have a chance or not. 3 of those 4 games at home: Punjab, Rajasthan, Chennai, Lucknow. These 4 are strong contenders, Rohan, for the playoffs.
Look,
it's tough.
No, it's tough because you look at Chennai away. That looks like who's going to start favourites in that game? Chennai.
Oh, well.
Rajasthan, the way Rajasthan are playing at Eden Gardens, which has been an absolute belter of a pitch. You look at Rajasthan's batting lineup. You look at the way Yashasvi Jaiswal's batting, with Joss Butler there, Sanju Samson. You're thinking, Rajasthan again will start favourites in that game. So KKR will have to do something special. They'll have to do something special. They'll have to pull a rabbit out of the hat to qualify.
Polly, they often say 16 points does the job. You go through to the playoffs. But in the remaining 4 games, what would you like to see them change? Do they say, listen, it's a theoretical chance, let's give our other players a chance? What's their best way forward now?
No, I think they've just got to try and pick the best side to win on the day, depending on who they play. I think the real challenge, their success, if we look back at the years, their success was based on a surface in Kolkata that really suited their personnel well. They've got the 3 home games there, but it's a bit of a lottery because it's been such a good surface there that, people are posting 200. In the old days, it was like 130, 140, and Nareen could almost make sure that they didn't get over the line. So I think therein lies the challenge. If you look at someone like a Chennai, they are very good at winning on their own conditions because it's a lot different to what you experience in the rest of the competition. That used to be the case in Kolkata, and as Rohan said, it's an absolute belter at the moment. So I think Nareen will be hoping that he gets a game next in Chennai. I think that'll be the surface that he would be looking forward to bowling on most. But they're going to have to come up with something. And I think the key for them is if they get that start up front, I think that gives them the best chance.
What about Hyderabad? They've lost 6 games. They find themselves at number 9 on the points table. What is in store for, they've got 5 games left. We told you how they've got that 1 extra game in hand. But they're playing some solid teams. Mumbai are on course to forge a strong comeback. Bangalore always a threat. Gujarat are playing like champions, barring that last game. Lucknow, I don't know if KL Rahul's going to be available. Rajasthan always a force, Polly. Is there a chance? Is there a chance for Hyderabad?
No, I think they're done and dusted. When I look at that 5, sure, those teams have been playing some proper cricket. So to pick yourself up the floor and be able to put together a run of 5 matches of victories, I think it's a really tough ask for them.
For you?
I think they're toast. I think they're done. You look at those 5 teams that they're playing. That's probably the top 5. And you look at where they're playing: Mumbai away, Bangalore home. The home games, what we've seen is their record at home isn't good. But Rajasthan away, and you look at the batting lineups of Rajasthan, Gujarat and Mumbai, compared to the batting lineup of Hyderabad and the confidence that the Hyderabad batting lineup has at the moment. It'll be a very brittle, as far as their confidence is concerned, it'll be very brittle. But while Mumbai, the way they've been chasing 200, their confidence high. Gujarat, with the kind of batting lineup that they possess, it'll be high. Rajasthan, their batting lineup that they have, the confidence will be high. So I think it's good night, SRH.
It's toast.
I think also the honesty of it is that teams, having been involved in setups, you do look at your fixtures and you think, well, where's my bankers? Where's my 2-point bankers? And I think those 5 teams who are going to play against the Sunrisers will think, sure, we should be picking up 2 points. And that's the worrying sign. It's like they believe that they should be beating you. That's a hard mental space to get past.
We've seen how these two teams that were in the bottom half of the table have done. We got an interesting game, a game that Hyderabad should have won, but congratulations to KKR for finishing the job, and well done, Varun Chakravarthy. Where does the IPL bandwagon move? It goes to the Savai Mansingh Stadium in Jaipur, where the Royals from Rajasthan take on the defending champions Gujarat Titans. It's a repeat of last year's finals. I've got to talk about Gujarat Titans first. They made an absolute mess of that chase against the Delhi Capitals. I don't know what they were waiting for. Hardik Pandya took all the blame for that loss on himself. Can that be looked at as an aberration, as a one-off? Because this team is looking really solid otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, there are certain games that the defeat would have hurt. Make no mistake about that. That defeat would have hurt. But you're right. They'll write it off as an aberration because they would have said, okay, this is where we went wrong.
Yep.
You know, we are a far better team than this. This is where we went wrong, and this is how we rectified. They would have known. They would have sat right after the game or the next day and said, lads, okay, right, point A, point B, point C. This is where we sort of slipped. This is where we messed up. We know what we have to do to rectify it, and boom, they'll do it. They've got enough match winners in that side. We've seen that in the previous season. We've seen that in this season. So, look, I don't think they'll be too... Well, they'll be disappointed with that result, but I don't think they'll be too worried with that one loss.
Polly, for you, is there any weakness that you can think of?
No, I really like that bowling attack. I mean, what they've been doing, Shami up front's been brilliant. I mean, Hardik plays his part. Josh Little has put in some decent performances. Mohit Sharma's done his good. And then you've got Rashid and Noor Ahmed. So that's all good. And the batting lineup, you know, I've had no issues with that ever. I really like the look of their team, and I think they've been settled. I just think they almost were trying to play it too cool that they asked over in the last game. And that's all that happened. You know, I was sitting there waiting for Hardik to pull the trigger. You know, when we played back in the day, we always used to talk about trying to finish it in the 49th over. We weren't playing T20s. Yeah. But you kind of always just want to give yourself a little bit of a buffer. So if it's possible, you needed to try and finish that a little bit earlier and show a little bit more urgency. And both these teams, I think, will be spewing from their defeats that they've had, because they were both in situations where they would have felt they could have got the 2 points, or would have almost been feeling the 2 points and going to be adding it to the table. And both of them ended up on the losing side. So it's important. They will have learned lessons from it, but it's an important encounter. It was a brilliant encounter between them last time. I mean, that was thoroughly entertaining when Hetmar cut loose. But both teams will be wanting to get back on the bandwagon as quickly as possible. You know, in these tournaments in the IPL, it was always a case, we didn't mind losing your game. You were obviously trying to win as many as you could. But it was when you lost 2 in a row from situations where you think we should get over the line that it started to hurt. So one of these teams is going to lose 2 in a row. They both got into the edge of winning. They both end up losing. But now one of them is going to lose 2 in a row. And that's when the panic stations can start to hit in. So it's an important encounter for them.
The Rajasthan Royals are making a bit of a reputation of beating the relatively more fancy teams. They've beaten CSK twice so far this season. They've also beaten Gujarat Titans in that first game that they played against Gujarat, courtesy Shimron Hetmai's finishing skills. Now, this squad, again, at the back of some absolute bombshell batting performances, this team tells us that they could go one step further as compared to last year, Rohan. This is an enviable batting lineup, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. But, you know, I'm going to go to the batting lineup, but we spoke about Bhuvneshwar Kumar and picking up a wicket in the first over 24 times in the IPL. Trent Bolt does that as well. So when you've got a bowling lineup of Trent Bolt, Chahal, Ravichandran Ashwin, you know, that's a really good bowling lineup. Batting, solid. Shimron Hetmaiah, Sanju Samson, the kind of form that Yashasvi Jaiswal, not just in the IPL, but he's shown throughout the season. He's had a fabulous season, domestic season. First class T20 in the Syed Mushtaq Ali, the one-dayers that Mumbai played. He's looked in sublime touch, even for India A. I think he's got a big 100 for India A. So he's been in excellent touch throughout the season. He's carried that into the IPL, and that innings that he played the other day against Mumbai. Listen, a lot of Mumbaikars, a lot of people who had the Wankhede will remember that for a very long time.
So will Jason Holder. Got clobbered for 3 sixes, courtesy Tim David. Polly, I suppose his confidence may not be very high. Would you give him a bit of a break and maybe bring in Adam Zampa on this Jaipur pitch?
Well, he performed well. What was it, 3 for 22, I think, the last outing that he had there. So that could be an option depending on what the surface is like. Yeah, I mean, Jason Holder is not one of those guys. Because he's so tall, it's quite difficult for him to do a job at the back end. You think of the low arm of somebody Sharma and Malinga and those kind of guys who kind of can get under a bat. Whereas because he comes from so high, if he just gets it wrong, it can be a little bit of a trampoline or full toss. So, yeah, probably not the ideal role for him to have bowled at the death. The only other person, too, who I wouldn't obviously look to leave out, but I think they'll be spending a little bit of time with Kumar Sangakkara, will be spending a bit of time with Padikal. He's just kind of battled to find his role. If I'm not mistaken, I think his best performance actually came when they lost some early wickets. And he was almost in at the top of the order rather than coming in that middle over. So, I mean, he obviously likes to bat there, and I think Kumar just needs to spend a little bit of time giving him a few options of how he can get his innings going without taking the risks. And then once he feels like he's settled, then he can take it on, because that left-handed option is also crucial for them and plays a part. So the rest of it all looks strong. Bowling, I love their bowling lineup as well as I do Gujarat Titans. I love their batting lineup and the way the guys are playing. The only person who might need a bit of arm around the shoulder and a bit of love would be Padikal.
Well, a lot more on Devdutt Padikal and how Kumara Sangakkara needs to deal with him. A lot more on him at 7 p.m. on Cricbuzz Live, half an hour before the game starts. But before we say goodbye for now, player to watch out for, both teams?
I'm going to go with Yashasvi Jaiswal. I want to see how he kicks on after that. What should be, in my opinion, a career-changing 100, because that should just give you confidence to say that, listen, not only do I belong at this level, I can excel at this level. So I'm really keen to see how he goes for Rajasthan Royals.
Holly?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing a slightly more motivated or determined Hardik Pandya. After not getting his team over the line, I'm looking to see how he bounces back. I think we could see something entertaining.
Just a quick one, a little more. I wasn't planning to ask this one, but it sort of popped up in my head. No, one more. I can get a bit greedy. Hardik Pandya, he seems to want to bat higher up, but he's seen more success as a finisher for MI. We've seen that in the past. Do you think it's time for him to go back down as a finisher, given the larger picture of this tournament, or are you happy to see him bat at 3?
I don't think in his role of the Gujarat Titans he needs to go down. I think if he was at Mumbai, he could obviously still do that because of the firepower that they have. But yeah, I mean, I saw some good performances from him last year. I think he maybe just needs to obviously change the gears at different times. But I don't have any issue with him coming up higher. I think he's a class player. He's got the ability to strike it really well. The only thing, and I know it's with his injuries that he's had, is if you have a look back at the innings that he played the other night, there's a lot to be said for people who charge between the wickets and put fielders under pressure. And there was a lot of times where he would just hit the sweeper and jog through. I think if he wants to bat higher up, there is times as a middle order player who comes in at 3 and 4, these T20 things, where actually the running between the wickets keeps that momentum, keeps the strike rate up, and then you can use the firepower at the end. So if he wants to bat up there, it can't be just about I'm going to hit boundaries and just knock singles. I think his running between the wickets could maybe be looked at.
The Gujarat Titans, if they win this game, they will have a 3-point lead up top. That's where they are. 6 wins in 9 games. The 7th win will give them 14. They go 3 points clear of Lucknow, who have lost their captain, is out of the IPL. However, if Rajasthan win this game, they will be level on points with Gujarat. Rohan, it looks like it's going to be a 5 or 6 horse race for that playoff ticket.
Yeah, look, it's going to get tight. I think net run rate will come into play. We've spoken about net run rate right from the start of the tournament, because we've seen this over the last 10, 12 years that 4th spot is always coming down to net run rate. So teams are going to start looking at net run rate right from the beginning of the tournament. But you're right, it's going to be, I think, a 6-horse race towards the end. You might find 6 teams, I mean not 6 teams, you might find about 3 teams on the same number of points trying to squeeze in into that 4th spot.
It's good. It's really good for the tournament, isn't it? But what else is not good for our ego? It's the joy factor. It always makes us look very unintelligent. We don't know anything. I can see Shaun Pollock nodding. All of us have the same emotion. Joy always makes it tough. All right, let me just read this once again for you. Of the only 16 players to accomplish this feat in ODIs, one is a current franchise captain, one is the coach of that same franchise, and a third plays for the Kolkata franchise. What is the feat and who are the players? You guys know?
I don't have a clue.
Tell us what the feat is. Tell us what the feat is
tell us what
first,
the
and then
feat
I'll
is,
see if I
and
can get the
we'll
players.
try and name the players.
I have no idea.
Okay, tell us what the players is, and we'll try and name the feat.
I've just been told it's hundreds in ODIs on debut. Hundreds in ODI debut.
Huh.
Ooh.
So could that be? Wouldn't be Ponting and Warner.
One of them is
Markram and Lara?
Ponting. Markram and Lara. No.
No?
Markram didn't get. He's only got his just first one-day international 100 the other day.
Okay, then. Ooh.
We're such studious cricket fans, aren't we? Let me make it easier for you.
Wait. Let's go through
Yeah,
the
give us
coaches.
the
I'm going to go
answer.
through the coaches because that narrows it down. Brian Lara.
Paulie's given up already.
I'm going to go Mumbai.
No, I haven't. But the time restriction. I could spend an
Mahela and
hour trying
Rohit?
to work this out.
I don't know. Someone wrote to me on Twitter and said KL Rahul, Andy Flower, and Rahmanullah Gurbaz. I don't know. Let's find out what the correct answer is, and let's find out who got it right as well. Oh, yes!
Oh, there you go.
Well done. It is KL Rahul, Andy Flower of Lucknow, and Rahmanullah Gurbaz of the Kolkata.
I was just going to say that. You had to wait for another 5 seconds because I was just going to say KL, Andy, and Ramnullah Gurbaz of Kolkata.
Rohan, at 11:53, 5 seconds is like an eternity. So sorry about that. Who gave the answer? Austin Dacunia wrote to me on Twitter with the answer, but I don't think he was the first one to get it right. So let's find out who it was. Ammar Khan.
Well done. I mean, that's just top class.
Well done, Ammar Khan. You do get a... Polly, does he get a flying kiss from you all the way from Durban for getting that one right?
Did you notice that the end of his Twitter handle there is 007?
Yeah.
Oh,
he needed
yes.
to be James Bond
Yeah.
to be able to work that out.
Well done, Ammar Khan, on getting that right. And well done to all those, especially in Mumbai, who chose to watch Cricbuzz live instead of going to the Backstreet Boys concert. You guys are true, guys and girls are true blue cricket fans. That's it from myself, Rohan Gavaskar, and Shaun Pollock. Thanks so much, Polly, for joining us. Are you off to a party?
Good. We'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, Cricbuzz is back.
No. I'm going to bed.
Forget
Going to
Backstreet back.
bed.
Cricbuzz is back tomorrow.
Cricbuzz is going to be back at 7 p.m. So do join whoever joins you guys.
And I want it that way.
I want it that way. I'm headed that way. Good night.
Jaipur via Kota.
कृपया ध्यान आपो अहमदाबाद
दिल्ली में आपका स्वागत
Lucknow Junction.
ನಿಲ್ದಾಣದ ಕಡೆಗೆ ಹೊರಟಿರುವವರೇ
Hyderabad Superfast Express
পরবর্তী স্টেশন নেতাজি ভবন। कृपया ध्यान दो